Teachers, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in his student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You are listening live on today, the 13th of September, 2015. It is 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT, and unfortunately, today is just a show with me. Unfortunately, everyone, Ken is feeling a bit knackered and under the weather and said he sounds like a toad, and so he asked if I could do the show on my own. And so I shall. But that's alright, because I, myself, am just a wee bit destroyed this week, as I have been continuing all of my efforts to destroy myself by being far too busy. But that's okay, because I'm sure I will find a way to survive. Alright, so to kick things off, we're going to jump right into a bit of
functional deviations.
And going in this week with what I have been up to, and I think one of the things I'll throw out there to everybody is you are welcome to mail into the show, as well as I may be even be so open to maybe having people call into the show this week, since I might otherwise fall over and die. We'll see. But let me bring up the mail on my other system so that I am all ready to see what people have been telling us this week. Alright, so what have I been up to this week? Well, honestly, the biggest thing I've been doing that has not been geeky this week is I have just completed my next, as the video wall will see, my next Tough Mudder. As you can see, from shirt, from headband, and from towel that I got from my little kit. It says that I have finished another Tough Mudder. That's right. It means I obviously hate myself that much that I now get the Tough Mudder ×2 headband. Although I don't hate myself as much as others, because I saw people that had ×6 and stuff like that, and people who are working on their pink ones, which are like 7 or more. So, but at the same time, I still must not like myself, because the Mudder is still a Mudder, and it is still something that I will not call fun. I'll put it that way. It's an experience, it's something to do, and something to be proud of finishing, but I will not say that I had fun doing so. But to celebrate doing it, I am going to crack me a beer here, drink during the show, so I can rehydrate? No. So I can celebrate the fact that I did survive yet another Tough Mudder. Another, in this case, 11.6 miles of grueling marching up and down the mountains of Snowmass, Colorado, and doing many a ridiculous event to prove my mettle, I guess. Oh, yum. That's nice. Alright. Oh, shoot. I need to fix this. I realized that I had still had my settings on here from when I was at the con with Snowmass, and so unfortunately my buffer bitrate size was set way too low. That hopefully will clean things up. Yeah, open up all those bandwidths, make me look prettier. There we go. And for the video wall, let's see, if you're not necessarily the show itself, but video wall should be the one on the front page of VTWProductions.com. If you click under the video chat, a video wall there, you should be able to jump into that, hopefully. And today's show is what Ken just posted. So, there you go. Also, right off the top of the bat, I would like to say, Hando, you lucky dog, since he has put in the IRC that he is going to go see the Double Clicks tomorrow. Which everyone should know, I am a big fan of the Double Clicks, since I was essentially stalking them at, over at DragonCon. Wow. This is how busy a week it has been. Not only, so, you know, the last show I was still at DragonCon, as I'm trying to remember everything I've been involved in. And so this time I'm now coming back from DragonCon. And so I still have stories from there as well as the Tough Mudder. I think, though, I will start with the Mudder and talk through it since it's more recent in my mind. and then move over to talking about what happened with the rest of DragonCon. Yes, that sounds good. And real quick, let me go and see if I can jump on the video wall as well. Haha, that'd be nice. Haha, since I have two computers running. Do this. Mute myself. Haha, look, I am on two places and it's working. Isn't that nice? Anyhow, so I will continue. So the Tough Mudder, let's see, like I said, it was 11.6 miles up and down. They said, elevation changed from a low point of about 8,000 feet up to a high point of 10,700 feet on the course. So a total of about 2,700 feet of elevation change. But that's just if you were going one direction. We went up and down the mountain multiple times. And so I don't know how many actual feet I climbed, but it was quite a few. And this year I was on Team VTW again. Yeah! In fact, my shirt's muddy in the pack there. I think washed with the one with the face and VTW on the back. With our good friend El Campo, his wife, and with, for the first time at a Tough Mudder, our friend Lieutenant Fork also came out. And so this was her first Mudder, as the rest of our second, thus the green band I earned. And much like I described the Mudder last year, it is not fun. It is a challenging experience. It is designed to see can you get through it, and which point I essentially did, although it was tough. And actually, as Cupcheck, you're saying he's trying to get sick in 9 million ways. Well, actually, I will say that coming off of DragonCon, which was nothing but parties all night and very little sleep, lots of drinking, getting into the Tough Mudder, I will say that the day before the Mudder, before heading up that Friday, or maybe that Thursday, I think it was that Friday as Fork came up, I was starting to feel a little sick, where I think I got an ear infection. Not entirely sure, but I get those often, and so that's most likely what it was. Which turns into basically a little bit of congestion and sniffling and things like that. Nothing terrible, but just enough to be like, are you kidding me? How am I going to feel this under the weather right before trying to go kill myself up in the mountains for the Tough Mudder? So that was fun. But basically, I will say I succeeded without killing myself too badly. Because I'm here to do the show. Alright, what else am I going to do in here? Let's see if I can find, so I can talk about it correctly, the trail map, because I didn't pick one up. I was hoping to be able to tell like how many overall events we had to go through, and describes my experience with some of the different events, in case you would like to do an event similar in your neck of the woods, because there's Tough Mudders happening all over the world. In fact, this weekend alone, I think there's at least 3 or 4 Tough Mudders that are happening. Let's see. No, not those ones. I want to go to today's event, because the other thing is Tough Mudder's not a one-day event. It is one that you could do both days if you'd like. But in this case, it's one that started yesterday and is also being held today for people who either couldn't get enough or just this worked better off for their schedule. That has Seattle. Come on. No fair. It's not going to tell me the one that's going on right now. How silly is that? Alright, I'll have to go back and like find my emails or something to talk about the course option. Oh well. Let's see. So as I started out with the Tough Mudder this time, we all got together and we actually left a little early. El Campo was impatient once we got everything together, and admittedly I didn't even get in because it's about a 4-hour drive from where I live out to Snowmass where the Mudder takes place. So I didn't even get out there until close to, well, I want to say like 11:30 or so at night to the hotel. But I will say, thank goodness for the hotel we stayed in, because it was significantly gorgeous. And it's one that we stayed at last year, but this time they gave us a heck of a suite. I think what had happened is that El Campo right away said he wanted to get a roll around for his daughter for La Campette, so she'd have a place to chill out and sleep and not have to sleep in a closet like she did last year. Literally, we set her up a bed in a closet. This time we actually got a roll-around bed, and when Campo checked in, he said that the gal behind the desk was kind of like, well, we're giving you a roll-around. Maybe we should give you a slightly bigger room. And so Campo was like, well, I'm not going to say no to that. And so they did. They upgraded us to a literal suite that had 2 rooms in it, door between the master room and ours, and 2 bathrooms with 2 showers, which for the Tough Mudder is awesome. Had a kitchen, had a full dining room table in it, the pull-out couch that Fork and I stayed on, and then La Campette had her own roll-around bed. But it was a gorgeous room, and so we stay each year when we do the Tough Mudder. I say each year, I'm not going to do it next year. We stay up at the Viceroy in Snowmass, which is a gorgeous hotel that, for the Mudder, is a discount rate of like $250 a night. I can only imagine what it goes for during ski season, because it's right there on the slopes, and it is an amazing area. They're so well designed to take care of people that it was a great experience. But yeah, anyhow, gorgeous place there. Got there real late. Went passed out. They'd already pulled the bed out, so we just tried to go to sleep right away. Although, admittedly, anytime Fork and I are trying to go to bed, it almost ends up like old school. When you had your best friend over for a sleepover and you stand up giggling and talking about the stupidest things. I swear I was going to smack that girl to try to go to sleep. Anyhow, woke up fairly early, got around, and was able to start getting ready for Tough Mudder. When I say start getting ready, that just meant getting into our outfits that we were ready to toss and burn afterwards, because it will get disgusting. Beyond that, I did not train this year for the Mudder like I did last year. Last year I had done the boulder. I had run throughout the year, so mostly I was in okay shape. This year, neither myself nor Mary Jo, El Campo's wife, got anywhere close to the exercise we wanted to do. El Campo always stays in shape, so he was fine, and Lieutenant Fork, she was not in the best of shape for overall, but she has been going to a personal trainer to try to get ready, and so that was really good, as she was trying to get prepared. Although, I will say, I don't think she ever ran far enough to really get ready for the Mudder, and she had no idea what the altitude was going to do to her. So we got together. El Campo makes this concoction, is the best I can say, which is essentially, pre-workout stuff, some glucosamine, some electrolyte stuff, some muscle, prep stuff, like 4 or 5 different powders all put together into one drink thing that he mixes up, along with a couple pills to take for joints and energy thing. And I will tell you, it's bad enough when you do a protein drink or something like that most of them aren't the most tasty things in the world. When you put like 8 of them together or whatever and try to go about consuming them all at once to get ready for a workout, this thing was like the most tart, cherry, over-the-top flavored, powdery I think I've ever choked down. But that's okay, because when you're going to do a Tough Mudder, you do whatever it takes and you consume whatever is necessary to give yourself the best chance of succeeding, because these things are no joke. So we did that, ate like a banana, made our way out to the village to get registered, came back, dropped off everything we didn't need, because you have to go there, sign your life away, sign insurance forms, things like that, and get your bib, your actual number, which most people's bibs don't make it through. Mine I ended up folding in my pocket after it ripped off my back. Get everything, and we came back out to the start line because we weren't supposed to start till noon, but Campo's like, it's 10 something, let's go. We say that. I think all of us had to use the restroom several times after that and get stretched and together. We actually didn't make it out to the course till about 11. And by the time we got up to and through the warm-up, we started maybe 15 minutes before our normal start time was set. So, hey, we started early-ish. As well as we met up with some people from work that we know that are really fit and have a pretty strong team. And at least started with them. And I don't think we saw them again the rest of the trip. The Tough Mudder, it's a neat event. A lot of the funds are designed to be raised and donated to the Wounded Warrior Foundation, which tries to benefit veterans and people in the military who have suffered injuries, and a way to get them back on their feet, give them some time with family, and ways to recuperate, stuff like that. So it's a great thing that we've supported through multiple different charity events, and Tough Mudder is one of them. So you get in there, you have a lot of people that are there that are ex-military, stuff like that, and a lot of people that just like to go torch themselves, but for a good cause. Get the motivator out there who basically talks you through warm-ups, music going, kind of get everyone in together and get stretched up, ready to go. As you get to the next stage, which is the guy who sends you on your way, gives you a pep talk, talks to you about the course and being friends, that this is not a race. I'm sure there are people who have done it for time, but it's not a race, it's a challenge, and it's an event meant to get you to work with each other as well as people on the course that you don't even know to try to all succeed together. The whole point is trying to finish the course because it's a bunch of obstacles. As well as the 11.5 miles that you run in it going up and down the mountain. They always talk about Colorado as probably being one of the toughest Tough Mudders around, mostly because of the altitude. Although, because it's also up in the mountains where it's dry, we don't get any of the fire hazards. And so we don't necessarily get all the same events that other people get, but we do get as many events as everyone else does. Anyhow, we started the Mudder, we start going, and basically what they had done this year compared to last is they reversed it. They essentially set it up where it was the same mountain, same general course we'd gone on, but they completely had us going the opposite direction to start with, where initially you started running up a hill and go over hay bales and stuff at the very beginning. This one we were actually running down right away under some bridges, and we're like, wait a second, okay, I know where we're at. Started heading down, and the problem with that is they kind of stick you very low at the course very early on, which means that pretty much the last 9 miles of the course is all uphill. I'll say like the middle 8. Because maybe the last mile of it as a whole is almost straight downhill to get back to the base. And anyhow, get up, start running down the hill. Again, for the most part, we're doing alright, jogging a bit. Fork wasn't, we're stuck in the pack and kind of end of it, so we couldn't get running right away. We jogged for the most part. First event they had was basically a straight wall climb that had a wall set up just hanging over where you had to boost a person over it. And one of the things they said is a lot of these events were labeled as 2.0 versions from the last year that we'd seen them, which essentially meant that they had made the events harder than in previous years or changed them up in some way. So the first wall that we ran into was essentially taller than previous years that we ran into before. Was it? Oh, I need the list of like events. See if I can obstacles. There we go. Maybe that'll just show me. I just need a list of them so I can reference them all. And not a video. There we go. So we don't get the Ring of Fire, but let's see, or any of the fire ones. We didn't get Dead Ringer, which would have been tough as heck. Alright, so we started out with, was it a version of Balls Out, I guess, which was just the wall. Going up over that, which was very tough. Oh, it was Balls to the, well, there are variations. Essentially go over this big wall, had to boost each other over, get on top, and pull the next people over. Continued on running, and I think the second event we got was Skid Marked, which is an inverted wall that you then have to boost someone in, so they don't have a wall to be on. And so you kind of jump up, grab, and use your legs to push yourself up and over, turn around again, pull the next people up. Having both Lieutenant Fork and El Campo's wife meant that the two of us had to do a lot of teamwork to pull the ladies over. Not too bad, but some extra effort. But it's a whole team effort thing. Got them over. And we got our way through, and the next one we ran into at about the 2 mile mark, which is similar to last year, was the updated version of Arctic Enema, which essentially is a big tub of water, a big trailer kind of at the back of a truck of water that is just pouring ice in over and over and over again. And they do it from the beginning of the morning, so this thing is frigid. It's as close to freezing as can be without, having absolutely being ice on it. And so it's just going to be, it's ridiculous, and the whole design of it is, you've already warmed up from running around the course. This is a straight shock to the system. And a shock in a way that I don't know if almost anybody's really ready for. Holy cow. But the way they did it this time, instead of jumping into the pool, they set it up where you climb this thing and then get on a slide to slide into it. So you will no doubt get covered. So you get on the slide, you can go 2 by 2, and we were like, ready? Let's go. Shoom. I slide next to Fork because I want to keep an eye on her. Get through the first part, and that's just, again, shock. Body just clenches up, every muscle gets tight. Start going forward, and then you have, which plunges you under, and essentially then the next thing they have is a wall that you have to now go over. On that wall, you kind of scale it to just out of the water, so above your chest, you grab hold of it, push yourself up, and essentially just flop over the wall into the next bath of ice water. I got over just fine, but the whole time you're in this water, your body is screaming to do nothing but get out. It does not want to be there. And so I got over, I turned around, and Fork is starting to make her way over the wood, and then unfortunately loses her grip, and basically just fell head first into the next thing of water. As soon as I saw her start to fall, I grabbed under, picked her up, and pulled her right back up out, because it's so disorienting, that might have ended things for her right there. Got her to the edge, pulled us out, we climbed out, just shivering. And at that point, it's like, all right, we just got to start going, Unfortunately, on that event, like our third event, right, 2 miles in, as she fell over, she banged her left, I want to say it was her left, shin against that wood and scraped it pretty good. Which would have been fine because she didn't bleed or anything like that, but it bruised it really bad. It started swelling up. And Fork, unfortunately, has RA, rheumatoid arthritis, as well as she has no immune system, so you always have to be very careful with anything getting in her or getting any kind of infection, because it can get really serious on her. So anyhow, she was a trooper, kept going. But because that bang, instead of us jogging after that, we pretty much walked/hiked the rest of the course. And so, continued on. We did... What else did we have after that? We got through... Let's see, after the Arctic Enema, we had... Yeah, we didn't have all of these events. We had some different ones for sure. I'm trying to think the other ones that Fork was able to do as well. But we definitely had the one where you go up over a wall with rope stuff. I don't know if she got that one either. Regardless, we made it to about the 5 mile mark, and we're just about to do Shawshank, which is essentially one where you go under barbed wire crawling, and then you flip over and crawl with a rope up a pipe, kind of a big tube, on your back, which smells and is horrible in there. I don't know if everyone defecates when they go there, but it's not pretty. You get to the edge, and you're backwards up this pipe, and then behind you is basically a 4-foot drop into about 5 feet of mud slop. And so you kind of come out, and most people don't do it gracefully. I saw it coming, and I was able to bend myself up all tight and get both my hands on the outer side of the tube and my feet and basically jump out, turn around, and kind of splash in and make it halfway through the mud before going in, and a little more gracefully than most of the people I saw, and continue out through the mud. That was the point, though, where we let Fork go. Her leg had swollen up enough that she just could not continue on. And so we said, all right, no problem. I sent her to the medical tent to get looked at, and she was just having a rough time of it. And probably for the best, because after that, the course just got more difficult. That was about the midpoint of the mountain. After that, everything was up from it, and we continued on up the mountain. Literally, the next thing we hit, was a just straight climb up that took you up a good 1,000 feet, straight up a ski slope. And that was just brutal. And I knew I could not have helped Fork up because I ended up having to help El Campo's wife up, and that took enough energy out of me, it was a wreck. Got up there, continued up higher into the mountain, and before we finally, after, I don't know, it was like mile marker 6 or 7 that we ran into what they consider the mud mile, and some of the other events they had in there. Some of those included things like the birth canal, which is essentially this low crawl you do under a tarp that has water all over it, so it's just pressing you down into the mud that you're crawling through. And if you have any kind of claustrophobia, this is not an event for you. I was able to get through it, and it's weird because the first part not so bad, but as you get to the end, it just presses down on you into the dirt and mud. You just feel like you can't get out. Other ones that we did up there, let's see, the Liberator, which is essentially a peg crawl up a wall where you take wood pegs and have to put them into holes, pull up. Can't use your feet for anything other than have little notches in the wood on the side you can kind of get a toe in. Get over that wall, made that one just fine. Let's see, there was Kiss of Mud, stuff like that, where you had to crawl through just things of mud all up over you. One of the more entertaining ones that Fork was able to watch us do, but didn't actually do herself, was the new version of Walk the Plank, which I don't know, do they have a call for it on this one, on the page? Oh, so now it's called, I want to say, King of the Swingers, essentially. And so what it is in Walk the Plank, it was one where you go up about 20 feet in the air and jump into this 12-foot pool of very cold mountain water. This time, what they did is the same premise. You climb up and they had the water out there, but instead of you just jumping into it, they put, probably about 4 feet away from the platform you're on, this little T-bar that is on a swing, that's a little like pendulum type thing, that locks in, and they have the whole group of 6 people at once, and they say, ready, go, and everybody jumps out, and you have to grab hold of this little bar and swing out, and you're supposed to try at the edge of the swing, there's little bells hung up above to try to swing way out and try to ring one of the bells. which normally if you try for means you're going to put all your effort into going up and not worrying about how you land, which usually means everyone flops into the water in a weird way from at least 20 plus feet in the air. I was actually, and I talked to Campo about this one, we were more worried about grabbing that bar first than anything, because already your hands are muddy and numb a little bit from the cold and just having run for like 5 miles plus. That thing, when you get up on it, you're like, I could jump in the water and be fine, but at that height, you see this little T-bar out there, it's like, I can get to it, I'm sure I can, but I'm so worried that when I grab it, will I actually be able to hold my weight and swing out as tired as I am to try to even give an attempt to hit that bell before having to swim out of it. And I'll tell you, mine was still shaking from the last person that had done it when they said go, and I was just like, oh well, leapt forward, grabbed it, and I was so happy I held on. Swung out, and the bad part was there halfway through the swing where I realized, hey, I'm doing it, I got this. I was like, you know what, that bell doesn't look so far away. And so mid-swing, I kind of kicked my legs and like, let's go for it. Reached out. And I swear I was within 6 inches of hitting that damn thing, if not less. But I was right at it, reaching, one arm up and kind of flying, and I just missed it, which now meant I was sideways in the air as I started falling back to earth into this pool of muddy water. I don't think I landed terrible, but it definitely wasn't graceful. Splash! Cold! Get out of it as fast as you can, swim back out, get out, and I succeeded, so I wasn't too bad. El Campo tried, he missed it completely. His wife got out part way. Actually, she didn't even try to hit the T-bar. She just jumped right into the water and swam out. She was like, nope, not even going to bother. Get out of it. That was actually kind of fun and a neat switch on previous ones, so that was pretty cool. Other events that were memorable. Why not? The Crybaby. So we had heard about this one. Essentially, this was a low crawl through a pocket of what they said was tear gas. It wasn't. It was essentially Vicks Vapor Rub, that kind of menthol type of rub. But it was Vicks on steroids, mixed in a bundle in a case, pumped directly and consistently pumped to a point where there was such a cloud, you couldn't see more than about a foot in front of you. And they had this whole like plastic thing in there. What you had to do was go under first into a watery pool that was just deep enough that you had to hold your breath to get into it, so that when you came out into the Vicks, you had to like take a breath right away. And so you just suck in this menthol that feels like someone is just dropping like icy nails down your throat into your lungs. In a way, it's good because it clears everything out. Like anything you might have had going on, congestion is gone. So my sickness, that actually might have helped me get through whatever cold I had, because afterwards it was just like boom. But you then have to low crawl through this thing a good like 30, 40 feet, and you're stuck behind other people. And I swear if the person in front of me had been there, I'd have got through that thing like nothing. But right off the pool of water, they then go in, and there's like another little plastic thing that you go under, and now you're into a more concentrated version of it where it is just this thick white cloud, and it starts to burn and get uncomfortable where you can just think, I need to get out of this. This is horrible. And I kept running into this guy in front of me, and I so wanted to just like punch him and get him out of my way because I knew I could have got out faster. Got out of this thing, into the fresh air, couldn't get away from it fast enough. Started walking through it just like, My only good thing is I did open my eyes through it, and it didn't burn, thankfully, my eyes. El Campo's wife said it really sucked for her that it did start. She was tearing up and stuff like that. Campo got through it pretty well, but even El Campo, both of them had been in the Army, and they'd gone through the straight real gas chamber with like pepper spray type gas chamber stuff that just makes your whole body lose all of its fluids when you're done. So it's not that, but they both came out and they were both like, okay, that sucked. That was still legitimately a terrible event to go through. And it kind of ranked up on our list of, yeah, that was no fun. I probably would have preferred going through the Arctic Enema again than that one. And I hate the Arctic Enema. So that Crybaby one was actually really, that sucked. Beyond that, they had the Mud Mile, which honestly this year was so easy compared to last. Same kind of thing where they had trenches dug out and walls of mud that you had to go over and pools of mud that you got to be careful because those are just straight rocks and boulders and things that will jack you up in there. So you have to step slow and catch every foot and stuff like that. Now, Kuro's sick from the con NDK, so he feels like he could use a full menthol injection, is what he's saying. In case you didn't catch that, Cupcheck. Excuse me. But, so the mud mile was actually easier this year. In fact, the walls were only about half height. You'd get into mud about to your waist, but then the wall that you had to climb over was not even up to your mid-chest. So it wasn't bad. Last year, they were above your head, and the walls were so broken up, you could not get over them without friends. This time, we, like, for the one wall, we kind of like, oh, wait, there's footholds? Never mind. And we made it through the whole pit without any help. So actually, that one was kind of weak, I would say, this year. And me saying this week about the Mudder is only by comparison to previous years. It still sucked. Still sucked. Don't think for a moment that it wasn't a crazy event. But at the same note, thankfully we didn't have pole dancer this year because that I hated. Berlin Wall was the one that we first went over. We had the Balsa Wall, which is going up a wall with a rope, really high one. That one was fine. We don't get Grease Lightning, which is a hill where you slide down, which actually makes me sad. That would be fun. But the other one we then got that I thought was interesting, it was towards the end. No, so the one that jacked me up, I made it through every event in the Mudder this year except one. I attempted it, but I successfully did every event except for the updated Funky Monkey. The old Funky Monkey was strictly a monkey bars that went up at about 30-degree angle that you'd have to climb up through the first set, and it's about 20 feet or so. I forget how many bars you hit. And then down a 30% grade down the other side to the platform. This time, the same up that you had the first year, but at the top what they then had was a swing bar that you had to release off of the monkey bar, grab with both hands, swing forward, and then on the other end they had a bar that was perpendicular to you that was going down that you had to grab onto hand in front of hand essentially and work your way down this 30-degree pipe. I was able to get up there, and I was looking at this thing for a while, not wanting to go. A couple guys got on before me, and they're like, nope, can't. And so nobody wanted to right away. It was a point where you're just tired, arms are wrecked, so my hands, I was just like, I don't know, they're kind of frozen. I'm not sure if I can actually grab. Finally got on it, made it up. I just looked at the bars, like next one, and I was like, okay, I'm doing it, I got this. I was at the top, which now puts you even higher above the mud water below you. It's like, all right, reached out, grabbed it, swung forward, reached forward, got the pole. I had my one arm on the one I was on, the pole on the next. As soon as I released my back arm for the pole to reach this other one forward, I just slipped right off and fell down, which is like the highest point of that obstacle. Landed on my leg in the water, and I think I must have tweaked my right ankle when I landed. It wasn't terrible, but I definitely felt it. So ungraceful. I almost wish I had video of that piece, because, so close. And then the guy had to climb out. And that was one, I don't know if I only saw like 2 or 3 people actually successfully go down that pipe. That was legitimately difficult. Beyond that, there were a couple other events that were of note. There was one called the Beached Whale, where you had to climb over essentially what is one of those big air bladders that you'll see in lakes, where someone will get on the end, someone will jump from a platform and launch them into the air. Just sitting there, full of mud, and right before it, they make you go through like waist-high, just the sloppiest mud you can imagine. Looks like pudding. It's so just sloppy, gross brown mud. It's just to make you slick, so that when you try to get on the Beached Whale, you have to try to help yourself up, where there's a rope at the very top of it. But this thing's so high, you can't jump up and reach it. Somebody has to boost you. And this whole thing, because there's multiple areas where people are doing it, the whole thing's just undulating all over the place. So you get hold of it, you get on, try to get a handhold, reach back to pull the next person up with you, and slowly kind of chain your way over it and slide down the other side. That was such a mess. Thankfully got through it. It's just a pain in the butt, surprisingly difficult. Led us, though, towards, let's see, what other one was probably worth talking about? That was most of, really only 3 other ones of note. There was Hold Your Wood, which is, last year was just a log that you carried up a trail around and down. This time, 2.0, what they did is they actually got nice smooth logs, which is cool. They weren't just random limbs coming off. But to make it difficult, what they did is they put a couple walls in the middle that you had to, as a team, put the log over one wall, slide it forward, person run around the wall, grab the other side, and start pulling the rest over as everyone then comes around to keep the log going. And then another one where you had to put the log through a hole and do the same thing. Get low, put it through, get high, put it over. And the challenge with just 3 of us, those logs were all designed for teams of 4 or 5 or more. And so El Campo and I were shouldering a hefty amount of weight for that one as we put them on and went. But we succeeded, and thankfully about halfway through, a gal who I don't know if she was looking for a team, but as a single ran in and jumped in with us, and that absolutely helped. Having a fourth made it so much easier. Other two of note then is the, let's see, so that one, there's another wall one I was going to talk about, I thought. Oh yeah, Everest 2.0 this year, which Everest is essentially a half pipe that you have to run up that you've seen in things like Ninja Warrior, stuff like that. This time, they made it taller, which is the big thing where it's like, oh, let's make this even worse. Oh yes, Go Hex, Ken, there were a lot of jokes about, putting the long hard wood into the hole, and not the big one being, make sure you don't accidentally hit the rim because that doesn't help anybody. But yes, many a joke. So this one, you run up the half pipe, climb on the top, grab the lip, and pull yourself up. This time, unfortunately, they made the top taller, and they made the top, instead of having an actual ledge that you could grab, they rounded it off. So you had to either get enough momentum to go all the way up and kind of onto the vertical or the horizontal top part on top, or you really did have to have someone on top grab you and help pull you up. I was fortunate. I was tired. I waited, and I was like, all right, do this. Where you have to sprint, but if you sprint from the very beginning, you'll almost jack up your footing because really you just need that last burst to go up the ramp and try to get as high up it as you can. I timed it pretty well. I made it almost to the top, but enough so that when I grabbed the people that had arms down, they were able to get pretty low on my arms and pull me right up. So I barely stalled on it. But then I turned around and tried to take my place to help El Campo and his wife. I could not for the life of me get them up there. Campo made it to a point where it grabbed, and I had him solid. But the guy that was with me, I guess he just couldn't handle the weight because Campo's as much, if not more, than me. And I'm a solid 200-something. I could get Campo my side of it. This guy couldn't. And so we were pulling. I could not get myself back over. Eventually, I had to let him go, and he ended up walking around because he tweaked his back trying to get himself up there. Oh, well. Same thing kind of happened with El Campo's wife. She came up, we got hold of her, but she was further down the wall, and so really stretched forward over it. I couldn't get past laying on my chest partway hanging off. If someone else had grabbed me and pulled me up, we could have done it, but there was just two of us helping with mine, where there are other places where there are like 3 or 4 people all working together to try to pull people up. So that one, unfortunately, they didn't make it. I did. I did help someone else up before I left and went down, but tried. And the last event to always talk about with the Tough Mudder is the electroshock therapy. This is the one where they said they were going to electrocute us more this year, but I only saw this one event that had electricity. Now, granted, I did not go through the Legionnaire part, which is if you sign up for it, they have extra events that are harder and ones that they're trying out for future mudders, but we'll see. Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's been banned for it. I do have additional story to talk about after I talk about finishing it, but some people do go for either first, but the things that you'll really see people do instead of it trying to finish it first is there's people who will do it multiple heats. They will try to see how many times they can finish it in a single day before the sun goes down and they shut it down. And there are people that have hit it like 4 times and gone around versus, which is insane. That's because that's right there 44 miles plus, 45, 46 miles almost. So that's already insane. But there's people who just try to see how many times they can finish the course in one loop. But not necessarily first because they don't time it really. You can make your own time if you know when you started and find out when you finished. But the last event, electroshock therapy, which is famous because they have all these electrodes that are basically, if you've ever had a cattle fence kind of thing, electrical fence, that's what it is. And they lay these things on, you run into them, they shock you enough that your whole body will lock up. And if you're not careful and you're running, that means you will go face down in the mud. For us, we knew last year we just locked arms and said, all right, let's go, and start walking and just kind of force march through it. However, this year they made it that much harder, making it 2.0 by putting a bunch of damn hay bales in it. So there was no area you could just walk straight through. At some point you had to either dodge left or right or climb over a hay bale, meaning you were going to have some kind of trouble. You couldn't just sprint through this thing. Interestingly enough, I don't think the 3 of us ever got shocked. We were going through, and we saw other teams, like whole team like 8 or 10, go, and they went down. Boom! On top of each other, big mess, getting up stuff. We were ready for it. All right, shock us, let's go. We made it almost to the very end, and I think it was just that El Campo lost his footing and pulled us all down, and we went like knees first into the mud right towards the end where it was hard dirt, so I actually jacked up my knees right on like the last event. hit both my knees on the hard ground underneath the mud, just slop everywhere, got up and walked out of it, but no shock. And so in a way, I want to say that one was easier just because we didn't get shocked, but it was harder because of the terrain they put in it sucked. So we finished the event. We were successful at least getting through, minus a fork, who went to the medical tent, went down, grabbed our free beers, as well as a little bit of swag. Like I said, our bag where I got my headbands, our towels, the little shirt saying we completed. And then basically wandered around a little bit looking for either Lieutenant Fork or for La Campette, who had all our bag and room keys and stuff. Didn't see him, headed back to our hotel. A muddy mess. Eventually took shoes off before going in and throwing in one of the bags we had. Just like, well, normally they had a place last year where you could donate shoes, and we were expecting to. They didn't have it this year, so we're like, I don't know. I told them they could burn mine as far as they're concerned because I didn't bring them back with me. Oh well. But went on and got in there, started kind of like just sitting there just covered with mud, all drying to the point where it's like hairs were being pulled out because of so much mud. Anyhow, started getting cleaned up, and I started looking when we got back to the room and found Campette there, asked if she had seen Fork and said I hadn't. So I was like, well, crap. Because this took us a lot longer than we had hoped. I want to say the course last year had taken us like just under 4 hours. This time it took us like 6.5. Mostly because we were out of shape, but also just me having to walk Fork through the first half of it really did suck. But coming back, I was like, all right, I need to go find her. So let me go back to the medical tent and see if I can see what's going on. Went back, so I washed up real quick just so I could put on fresh socks and shoes, just enough on my legs, ran down there, made my way up the mountain a little bit to where the medical tent was. Went in there and basically asked, like, hey, is there someone in here I dropped off earlier that had a shirt kind of like mine? They're like, well, what was the name? I was like, I said her name. They're like, oh, yeah, no, she's at the hospital. We sent her to Aspen Hospital, so you'll need to check in there, at which point I'm like, what? When I left her, she was just a little, the mountain had got to her, but it wasn't that bad. So I was a little worried. Ended up calling the hospital, and they said, nope, she's all right. We got her. She's ready to go. So I went, cleaned up the rest of the way real quick, drove out to Aspen Hospital to go check on her. Got in there, and when I got there, she was not ready to go. In fact, I found her on the hospital bed, loopy as all get out. Not looking the best. And I won't give up all the details, but essentially, they put a lot of bags of saline in her, and they had to, I don't know. Circumstances were such that I had to sit with her in the hospital for another couple hours before she was ready to go, get her to eat some food, stuff like that. So we didn't have our celebratory after dinner that we normally would have and drinks and such. Instead, I was at the hospital for a while with Fork. Eventually picked her up. She had to get on crutches. Got her back, and didn't get her back to the room, unfortunately, till like 9 o'clock or so. But got her in there, ate some leftovers that we had at an Italian place the night before. Thankfully, once she got some food in her, she started seeming normal and everything. And we're good to go. But yeah. So that made things a little more exciting, if you will. I know I had sent a snap only to a couple of people, but of her looking not the best for wear. And thankfully she's alive, getting better. I'm happy that we stopped her when we did on the course, because if I had gotten her up to that next part, the top of the mountain, which we probably could have done, I don't know if we could have got her down. That would have sucked. So, yep, she got to experience the last half of the mud in an ambulance to the hospital and miss out on the beauty that is those parts of the mountains that we got to see. But she's alive. I believe sends her best. As far as I know, they're probably just getting on the road now. I left early because that 4-hour drive to get down here to be able to do the show. And because right after the show, I have to get ready to go do a photo shoot because, again, I can't stop myself from hurting myself. And I got to do senior picture photo shoot this afternoon, so I decided to get down here early. Fork was in no condition to come down with me, so El Campo and family are going to bring her down with them, so that way she could sleep in and try to recuperate further. So that is my mutter story from yesterday, and I will tell you, I am sore in ways I didn't think I would be. If you ever do one of these events, please do yourself a favor, and please train. If you're like here and you have altitude, go take some hikes up at altitude so you realize your lungs can realize what's going to happen to you. If not, just go make sure you've run at least a 10-mile stint at one time or walked/run 10 miles so you know what that distance is like, let alone doing it with obstacles. It is brutal. My knees hurt in a way that I need to go take some more joint stuff. where it wasn't actually my muscles so much, although my legs are burnt. My knees, on the way down those last part of the events, where it was all downhill, felt so much fire. I was almost sitting down trying to crawl down, but just kept going, plodding forward. It sucked. So, I will continue to tell you that the Tough Mudder is not fun. I had moments where I was smiling, and had moments where I maybe kind of enjoyed parts, but as a whole, no! But you will feel proud if you ever go through and finish it. And that's me saying I've not done it twice. And El Campo already saying, so we're doing it next year, right? And I'm just like, dude, I'm old. Are you kidding me? I don't know. So maybe I will, but at the moment I am definitely not feeling like a Mudder is in my future. So I'll say it that much. Alright. To continue on things, I switch over and do a little bit of...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
This week in Geek Cred, I'm going to finish up last-minute details and stories about Dragon Con. Because Dragon Con, unlike most conventions, doesn't end on Sunday, which is normally I'd say like I just have things to do tonight, but actually ends on Monday on Labor Day. And so I had an entire day and a half to continue after I did my show. So, to C-Cup, I told you, I did it, I don't know, because last year I was stupid and got the hype after finishing it and was like, screw it, let's try to do it again. And I signed up for it before I knew better, when there was a deal and it cost less, and I definitely, the closer it was getting this time, I was regretting that decision, that snap decision, so I'm trying to tell myself not to be that stupid again. Alright, let me get into emails as I get ready. Actually, before I talk Dragon Con, let me see if I can get in here and get through all of the crap that we get that is... Oh, geez. So much garbage in our mailbox. I really need to figure out how to put on the spam filter. Nice thing is, instead, I can tell you guys all the kinds of spam that come into the world here because I see them all. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Go away, you terrible, terrible things. And I will eventually get to your actual emails. Gee whiz, how many did we get this week? Get to your emails here before I talk the rest of Dragon Con. Alright, so, and then I will, after this Cupcheck, allow for call-ins. But let me talk these first. Oh, terrible. Some of these are so bad. No, we don't need insurance. No, I don't need another healthy diet. I don't care about the neighborhood alert system. Wait, and let's see, is this a real one, or is this... Nope, that's spam too. You terrible things. Where's my delete? There we go. Alright. Down to the actual emails. There we go! So, and this one starts out with one that came in at the end of last week during the show, but I didn't get it, and so we'll see about getting it this week. So, start things out, it says, greeting, this coming to us... Okay, it's in there. Greetings, sirs of the X, Agrius SW here again to share my week in geek. After catching up on the Show X archives, Ken was reminiscing of the old times of shows like ONH or Casually Hardcore. I had to write in. With some of the old email flavor. With that said, I am a LTS XLLTW. Wow, it has been a while since we've had that in an email. A long-time Show X listener, long-time writer. Thank you very much. And this week, I have been working on my Imperial Guard 40k army and getting it all set for this year's Armies on Parade. And yesterday, Ambrosia and I went to Michael's to get some supplies for the display board. I'm really excited to see how this is going, and we'll be sharing pictures when it is all done. As for gaming, my longtime WoW friend Copperfield started playing Heroes of the Storm, and the two of us have been having a blast in WoW with my Worgen Warrior tank and her Draenei Holy Paladin, and with the announcement of WoW Legion, Ambrosia is getting more interested in WoW. Uh-oh, don't do it. That's scary. Actually, let me see. Pull this over to this screen so I'm looking closer to the mic. Waha! Look how I can do that. Perfect. Alright, where was I? What to do? Alright. Also, my let's see. Yep. Heroes of the Storm. Oh gosh, really? Okay, there it goes. There it is. Finally, next Saturday will be the return of new episodes of My Little Pony. Thank you for that. I don't know if I even finished watching last season. I need to get back in there and get online. I have too many things to watch. And on the 26th of this month is the third Equestria Girls movie, Friendship Games. There was a second one? Man, I'm out of the loop. From the previous I've seen, this is shaping up to be really awesome. That is all I have for this week. Keep up the great work, sir. Agrius SW, level 100 human paladin of the guild Silver Warcraft on Shattered Hand US, the paladin of Ambrosia Heartnet. P.S. One of my favorite artists I follow made this one-page comic that I had to share with you, sirs, since reminds me of Ken's views on anime. Enjoy. And so I will include a link for that in the show notes. Where is Geek Cred? There you are. So I'll put that into the show notes as well. Oh, I can't copy it over from there over to here. Too bad. You'll have to see it in the show notes. Haha. Anyhow, back to the emails. So thank you for that, Agrius SW. That being last week's one. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. Alright, next. A Ken mail, since he's not here. Let's see. Actually, ooh, can I do this? I accidentally trashed a mail I didn't want to, so see if I can go to the trash folder and bring it back. Where did it go? Oh, that's right. It's because it's filled in with all this actual garbage in here that happened, so I have to like find the one good one amongst all the garbage. There it is. Yes. Can I bring this back from being deleted? Unread? Merge? Wait. How do I do that? Let's do no. Nope, that doesn't do it. Aha, there it is. Move to inbox. Sorry, I had to figure this out real time. Alright, I'm back. So, back into Ken's mail, since he's not actually talking on the show, since he's broken today. It says, Dear Wainio and the Froshin. So apparently he's letting me know I'm not actually alone. It's me and my fro. It says, congratulations on completing the Tough Mudder. That ain't easy. Impressive, dude. I look forward to hearing about you completing the next one, too. Not happening. My family sends our best wishes. Had a bit of a reunion with my mum's side of the family on Friday due to my granddad having a rather severe allergic reaction to, quote, something. My gran was asking for you and if you've met a nice girl yet. I said you meet too many, if anything. No comment. And my Aunt Hilda was saying she enjoys watching both handsome gentlemen on the show every week. Shout out to Hilda for being dedicated. So yeah, my family still love you. They ask about you straight after they ask about Kitten. Haha. Aw, that's cute. Silliness. Let's see. Otherwise, I had my last shift at the bar today and I begin teaching in just over a week. Less hours, more pay. Woo! Also, tell Hando to call in because I like his old grandpa voice and would enjoy hearing it. Cheers! Almost Dr. Laird Reverend Kenneth Neil Reed, the technically but not officially second. Thank you very much for at least participating in the show this weekend, even if you don't have the voice to actually talk. And finally, for this week's emails, Geek Cred coming in from our man Hando. It says, Geek Cred for 9/13/15. Nice. I like that. You put the exact date so we know when this is meant to be. Hey, X-Men! After weeks upon weeks of not having much geekery to talk about, I finally had a pretty good run. I built many fun things at the Inbound 2015 show in Boston and sent many Snapchats to all of VTW peeps to enjoy. Yes, he did, and holy cow, if that wasn't one of the biggest setups I've seen, Hando, you working on. The video wall background they had, let alone the lighting and speaker setups, were ridiculous. What kind of event is that? Let's see. One of the bigger productions of the year, I got to build a circular LED video wall and worked on many gigantic stages at the event. In the course of my back and forth on the trains, I became separated from my beloved Samsung Note 3. That is very bad. Went back to my provider to find out that I only owed $85 on the Note 3 and that I had for 2 years. Cut to me walking out with a brand new Galaxy Note 5 with all the shiny pretties. Ooh, well that makes it much less of a hassle. Maybe that was just time telling you you needed your new phone. Tomorrow, I'm going with my good IRL bud, Alavonis, to see the Double Clicks and Molly Lewis at the Middle East Rock Club. This will be my friend's first proper geek music show. Many singing Snapchats will be sent to all. That's all for now. Your pal, Hando. That is awesome, Hando. Sucks about the phone. Glad you got a new one. Awesome that you're going to go see Molly Lewis and Double Clicks. Thought for you when you go see them. Because when I got to see Molly Lewis, as I say in that, I might have said on the show last week, I maybe stalk her a little bit along with the Double Clicks because I go to lots of their shows whenever I can. I saw, I was sitting like literally right in front, first row. I could have touched them as they're playing kind of distance. When Molly was, talking to the audience, kind of it wasn't supposed to be actual questions, more rhetorical type things just to set up the show. I was actually answering, and at one point she's like, Wayne, you don't have to answer everything I say. At which point I had to just kind of shut up and sit there. But I was going to say, if you get an opportunity, you should let them know that you have enjoyed hearing Molly on Show X on VTWProductions.com. Because she at least remembered us when I introduced myself at DragonCon. That might give a little more shout out, and she might feel even better about having been on the show the couple times she has, knowing that there's fans elsewhere that know her from Show X. So that might be a thing to do. And you might even bring that up to the Double Clicks so that when I finally send my email to them to try to get them on the show, they'll say yes. Because I keep threatening, but I haven't actually asked them. But definitely some geek cred. And again, that wall you built was phenomenal. That thing was ridiculous. I wish I could understand tech to that degree. All right. With that, that is all of the write-in stuff. Let's see. It's not quite time for the break. Let me double check. I have not picked a song yet. Bad, Wayne. All right. Let me do that real quick. And that way I can get ready for the break. But in the meantime, I was going to talk a little more DragonCon. Might be best if I take an early break and then come back, talk DragonCon, finish that up, and then I will have time for call-ins after the DragonCon talk. So yes, Cupcheck, you'll be able to come participate in that as well. And I am totally missing, where is my documents that I want? No. There we go. Music. What an amazing thing. So, what do we want to listen to in the break today? Oh, legal music. That's right, Ken's not here today, is he? That means I can do this. And there. Haha! But that makes it a short break. Maybe I should grab another one. That's unfortunately only 2 minutes. I need 2 songs. Let me grab... Well, we're talking about Molly Lewis and all, so maybe I'll grab one of hers. Although I don't think I have any on the show. Oh, there it is. Haha. Although it's also because I need to actually load on the one song or so I got from their album that I don't think is actually I have on this. I think I have most all of their songs, but I'm missing 2 of her songs from her album that I don't have on my computer. So I'll have to go back and add those 2. And especially since these ones are all live versions. The one I have is from previous albums. So haha, I'll get that on there. Alright, in the meantime, we will throw on as well. Oh, this one always just is poignant to me, but we'll do this one. So this way you get 2 songs. It gives me more time to take a break and rest my voice. And we'll do that a little early. Come back afterwards, like I said, for a little bit more talk about DragonCon, as well as you guys calling in. Alright, I'm all set. On to the break. Be back in a little bit.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
What is this weird show? It's like the only thing you know. You talk about it every day. You know this is child's play. Your path ahead is blurred, told to go join in on the herd. You know this show's for younger crowds. How can you say you're proud? Now think, Brody, think. Everything in here is pink. You spent your precious time. Now you're walking up the line, and then you have the nerve to ask me to observe these girly things. You open your mouth and sing. Ponies aren't just for girls. Let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinky pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd, and you will see. that I never thought I'd like this stuff. I thought I was just too tough. I'm sorry I was rude, I feel happy and renewed. And even though I feel naive, I find it hard to leave. So thanks, Brody, thanks. My mind was shooting blanks. I feel like such a fool. Who knew ponies were this cool? Now wait for Saturday for the show to play. What will it bring? We open our mouths and sing. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinkie pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd and you will see. So thanks, Brony, thanks. Looks like I've joined your ranks. I never could repay what you've done for me today. So thanks, Brony, thanks. Looks like I've joined your ranks. I never could repay. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinkie pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd and you. Ponies aren't just for girls, let this tale unfurl. Twilight sparkle, pinkie pie, applejack and fluttershy. Do not be afraid, we will never fade. Rainbow dash and rarity, join the herd and you will see.
When I met you, I thought you were really smart. And even more so when we started going out. It was your intellect that really won my heart. There was just so much stuff you knew so much about. I was hungry for knowledge and I was single. I didn't want to date, I really hadn't planned to. But you were cool and you were smart and you were multilingual. And I felt that I could really understand you. But then it went downhill and we'll never get back to our better days. I'm done, I've had my thrill, and I think we ought to go our separate ways. But it isn't you, it's me. I guess we just weren't meant to be. I thought we were inseparable, I thought you were my friend. But looking back now, it all makes sense at the end. You're sometimes vague and you're often inconsistent. You know opinions, you never take a stance. You're so dispassionate, you always sound so distant. And I tell you, you know zilch about romance. And not once did you ever say you love me. You sent no flowers, you never called me honey. And you always talked as if you were above me. And it felt like you were always needing money. Sometimes you generalize, and on better days your tone is condescending. And when we talk books or films, you always find a way to spoil the ending. But it isn't you, it's me. I need someone more scholarly. I thought you had the answers, but your smarts are all pretend. And my attraction only makes sense at the end. You just believe everything you're ever told. You never question, I'm pretty sure you don't fact check. When someone puts ideas into your head, you never blink, you that you even know my name. You keep tabs on other girls, but I noticed there's no article for me. You're known by all the world, so I guess I'm just a droplet in the sea. But it isn't you, it's me. I know you know apology. I know not to judge my company just based upon its looks. I'm too grown up for your articles. It's time that I read books.
You're listening to Show X on btwproductions.com.
Yeah, so for everybody that was watching the IRC or people on the video stream will have seen that I gave a little backstory to that song there from Molly Lewis. The It All Makes Sense at the End is that when she did it at DragonCon, she did it during the concert at DragonCon, she told us that one is basically about her interaction with Wikipedia. And so if you listen to that song, understanding that it's really about when she had a page on Wikipedia for a short period of time, and then somehow, excuse me, yikes, beer. Somehow it was decided that she wasn't big enough to have her own wiki page, at which point she was taken down. And so if you listen to the song, understanding that, it makes a lot more sense. And especially as I remember a time when Ken was kind of going off about how wiki pages and people who write on things can sometimes spoil books, as they talk about things that happen later in a book series, not in this book you're reading about in that one. Similar kind of premise in the song. So, thought you would appreciate that, and knowing a little bit more about that song as she had enlightened us about it, which I thought was really cool. Alright, so, finishing up as we're talking now about DragonCon. See if I can get my facts and time straight, because the whole week, I want to say end, but it was more week, kind of blurred together with so much going on. Gee whiz. But after the show, I basically collected myself. And it was kind of a challenge because on Sunday I was doing my Shepherd book cosplay, so I was really antsy to get out of the room. And I hadn't really done much to get ready for it after the show, or before the show. So I had to finish ironing, getting the costume together, get my hair done, sprayed white, things like that. Even during the break of the show last week, I had shaved to get that start going because I really wanted to get out there. There's a certain conceit I have for my costumes that when people see them and understand them, they tend to think they did well. And so I want people to see them and get some time out there because I do like being seen in the costumes I've put together. To point being, for those who hadn't seen, and Ken kind of put it out there, posted a little bit about the Funimation thing. I don't know if that was, did we discuss that I don't think on the show or not, I forget, but essentially that one of the things while I was walking around on my Mr. Satan cosplay, I had gotten a picture taken of me in it from a guy who does the Funimation podcast and was there and basically said, hey, this will probably end up on our page. Unfortunately, I had just taken it with a cell phone, but it was nice enough that when he put it up on Instagram, I got 3,700 likes for that picture of my cosplay, so that was nice, made me happy. As well as it eventually went up to the Funimation page on Facebook, so if you look there, you can find a picture of me in my Mr. Satan cosplay as well. Yay! That one, like I said, enough people liked it, that made me feel good. Plus, let alone that I acted out and I'm a real ass when I'm in that costume, my extrovert costume. But, anyhow, on the other side, my Shepherd book, I was running around, and unfortunately, because I was downtown Atlanta, I could not find a grocery store to complete the costume, so I couldn't find for my box any strawberries. Which sucked. Because every time I did pull out the box to take pictures or something, or people would ask several times when they saw my costumes, do you have strawberries? I was like, normally I would, but I do have the box, and here's my Bible and stuff like that. So it still went over really well, and people really liked it. However, as the day progressed, one of the things I did run into is Mary Kate from the King of the Nerds cast, because one of the things from that whole weekend is I got to hang with the nerds so many times, and they are such fun people. I need to go get a list of all of their, or if anybody wants to, all of their Twitter handles, because you guys should check out all of the King of the Nerds ones. Lily, that we've interviewed on the show twice, is Lily RE. You can find her, Lily space RE. But a lot of them are, was it KOTN? It would be in there, so Caitlin KOTN, Todd the Bod, all those guys. You can find all of them on Twitter stuff. It's so worth following. They're all hilarious. As well as when you're out partying with them and drinking in this room of people that were on King of the Nerds, you realize these are all regular people that have real jobs. Half of them are engineers or teachers or whatever, so they're all just really smart, well-spoken people. I think I mentioned it before, but such cool people. And big props and thanks to Mary Kate, because the last night of, well, on Sunday night at least, of her making her room drink, which is, good way to start the night. She used strawberries for it this time and was too quick about putting it together to actually like cut them up or anything. And so with that, I got to, they had whole strawberries. So I went and raided the room. And when I went in there were a couple of the nerds in there just kind of hanging out, watching TV. We're watching the contest, costume contest on their in Dragon Con network, which is really freaking cool. For most of the cons I've been to, if you don't get into a panel, you're kind of screwed. One of the things Dragon Con does is for some of the biggest panels, one of them being like the costume contest, they have amongst the main 3 hotels a station dedicated to broadcasting those events. So you could just stay in your room and watch some of those big events. Great time to take a minute of downtime, replenish, clean up, whatever you're going to do, and still participate in watching in a great event with probably a better view than you would have gotten if you actually got into the panel to see it. That was slick and something I highly recommend to every convention out there. Just a smart way to do it. So we were hanging out, watching some of the costume contests, and I went and maybe stole about half of those strawberries to put in my box. Rinsed them off a little bit such, so maybe a little infused with alcohol. I only gave a few out. As well as, I had some punch, of course, because it was right there and lovely. So then I was very happy because then my costume was complete, and anyone after that, any Kayleys I saw, or really anybody on the cast I saw, if they asked, I'd open up the box, saw the strawberries, and they lost it. Because that's my big win for doing that, and always fun. Other than that, I definitely at least one of the nights hung out with Snowmass to the point where it was late night. He was done with his podcasting responsibilities. He had a bottle of Ruinum, which is essentially one that the Night Attack podcast, right? Those guys got together and they have their own brand of wine where they had done it last year and they thought they were done, or they had found another case this year, so they gave them all out. Wow, that was crazy. But that stuff, it's infused with grain alcohol, so wine that is now like 20% alcohol. Man, that was good, and it tasted amazing and put a good buzz. So, Dragon Con at the end there, Nomais and I, the one night we actually got to really hang out together, were essentially walking down the streets with an open bottle of wine, swigging out of it like proper winos, grabbing food, and just regaling each other with stories, as well as talking about all these ways we could conquer the future of podcasting and doing more with things. So hopefully you'll see something come out of that. Set some ideas, some things shared. We'll see if we actually can follow up and do it, but that would be nice. Monday, when I finally woke up there, was kind of more relaxed. Ended up hanging out with a couple of the friends that I kept bouncing between. One of those days, either, I want to say it must have been Monday morning, we went and actually got Waffle House. They have a nice clean one downtown. Got Waffle House, had some breakfast instead of me just having one meal a day. Went back, I want to say hit the artist alley. I did actually, I picked up some artwork from a gal. This was Monday, where I picked up, I just loved her use of light and kind of color. It was very vivid. And so I got a couple prints of hers. And the one that I like the best, and the artist is, it says The Art of Amber, and it's Geku Chen, Amber Chen, which you can find at KAGAMINOIR.com. So, kagaminor.com. You can find her artwork, but I just loved her use of color. And really the one that caught me was this one of a gal that's essentially almost like a succubus type character, but playing music. So maybe a muse, something like that, but musical notes going around. Just the use of color, how vivid it is, and it caught me, loved it, and I would totally go. And I may go back and actually go to her site and buy the print of it, or not the print, but the canvas of that one to hang up in my house because it was that pretty. You say that, Kuro. There are clean Waffle Houses in the world. Only a handful, mind you. This one was mostly clean, and the experience was, well, it was still Waffle House. Because we got in it, yeah. Actually, this one, it wasn't terrible. This one worked out. It wasn't so bad. But if I'd ever take you to Parker, there's a Waffle House in Parker, Colorado that is one of the cleanest ones in existence. Which is scary, but is damn pretty, and it's all run by like cute little high school girls and stuff like that, and so it truly does not feel like Waffle House, but it is Waffle House. You see it and you're just like, huh, well, there you go. It exists. Now it's weird though, because you almost don't feel like you're eating at a Waffle House. It almost feels like it would be a proper like restaurant or something, which truly feels odd. Put put it that way. Let's see. I'm putting the link in really quick to the show notes before I forget for the artist, because I told her I would because I really liked her art. So, do that right now, and I don't forget. Haha! Done. So you guys should check her out. Let's see, what else is going on with that? So it went 8. Finished up last day of the con, was basically go shopping and stuff. Things kind of ended early. Missed most of the rest of it, like closing ceremony, stuff like that, just to hang out with people again. But was good. Called it, I wish I'd say I called it early night. I think I might have actually gone to bed at midnight that night, but I still think we were late, even that evening, because I was hanging out with Damien and his friends. But then Tuesday, wow, when Noam and I actually left. Noam had to leave at like 7 in the morning flight, so he left early. And we had been out late, but he was out of the room, so I woke up at like 10-ish on my own, just there, which actually worked out perfect, because by the time I checked out, got on the train, the MARTA, back down to the airport and stuff, I was there just early enough for the flight and stuff that actually, almost timing-wise, was perfect. Flew back, got in town Tuesday night, just in time to kind of pass out and stuff to then go to work Wednesday and Thursday before driving out of town Friday up to Snowmass to do the Tough Mudder. And that brings us back. Cyclet, back to where we were. All of that together. And it was an adventure. And I'm still a little, I would say, maybe under the weather. Just a little bit of ear infection or something. I hope that's all it is. Let alone all the garbage and mud and whatever was in every orifice from the mudder. I think if I take a proper bath today and wash everything out better, more mud will still come out. Yeah, that's still an event. So anyhow, that was pretty much my geek cred for the week. And with that, although there are some potential news stories that could happen, I am going to open up the phone lines because I know that Cupcheck wanted to call in and regale us with some stories. So with that, I will open up the phone lines, and if you would like to call into the show, please feel free and go with that. While waiting for that to come in, I'm going to transition over from Geek Cred and see what little bit I can jump in there and...
Technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
So, as I wait for calls to come in today on the Geekoscope, and you can call in also at VTW Show X on the Skype, or VTW Show, sorry, on the Skype. And I think there's a link. Is there still a link on the front page? Hopefully there is. If not, you should have friended, and hopefully you're in there. Alright, I did have a news story or two I can bring up as we wait. One of which is for anybody that may be coming to my next Game Fest in a couple weeks. Kuro, please update your tribes. Because apparently they have a patch coming out, and they've done something recently because the game is playable again. Enough so that the past couple days before actually, the last couple days before doing, what was it? Tough Mudder, I actually played a few rounds of Tribes Ascend. There are servers up. I could log in and get games right away. There's even ones that were playing the official original game types, not just custom mode, so I could play in any of my characters. So nice! And it was running wonderful, and apparently they're coming out with a new big patch that's supposed to streamline a lot of things here in the next couple weeks. It's currently on the public test realm, so keep an eye out for that, but I am telling everybody that at this Game Fest, there's probably going to be some tribes being played, so be aware. Alright, so the one article I bring out, and like I said, I can't link it in the IRC because it's over here and this computer, anyhow. So, enough of that. We have a guest who has called into the show. Cupcheck, how's it going today, sir?
It's going. How are you?
I am actually doing surprisingly well for all I put myself through.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
There are times when I would not disagree with you.
Okay, so one of the main reasons why I'm calling in was because as you were being a masochist, I proceeded to watch the live stream for the pool selection for the League of Legends World Championships, and I was actually wanting to get your thoughts and opinions about it because there appears to be two pools that royally screw half of them.
Okay.
Okay, so Pool B specifically, it has both Fnatic and Cloud9 in it.
Okay.
With effectively two teams that I've never heard of before. One coming from the Korean LCS, and then another one actually a wild card. The like it's almost guaranteed that Fnatic and Cloud9 are going to advance. And the way that they get the brackets worked out is that the only way that you can compete against someone out of your same pool is if you're in the grand finals of Worlds. So the only other time outside of pool play that we will ever see a Fnatic Cloud9 matchup will be in the grand finals.
Okay.
And what's really interesting about it is that they actually say that Cloud9 is an underdog going into this.
Compared to who?
Cloud Logic Gaming and Team Solo Mid is in Group D.
Okay.
And what's really funny is that you have all these teams that people have never heard of before, but I could almost like guarantee that it's like if I was part of a nobody team and all of a sudden it's like you're in a pool with Team Solo Mid. Shit, really? And like have that kind of reaction, and these specifically these Korean and EU teams that I've never heard of before. It's like there's only going to be TSM and Cloud Logic. That pool D is sort of being dubbed the pool of death. But yeah, and the most interesting thing about it is that the way that they have the brackets worked out, the quarterfinals are going to be best of 5, and it's going to be like the way that it's worked out is that if TSM and LGD Gaming, if either one of them come out of their pool first, they will either be playing Fnatic or Cloud9 in the quarterfinals of the knockout stage after pools. And I'm sitting there thinking, whoever set this up is evil, sadistic, and really wanting to not only give a really good matchup, but also at the same time kind of make it look one-sided. And it's like I was just wanting to get your thoughts and your opinions. I know you're a huge League player, and I'm kind of throwing myself under the bus because I watched the 2.5-hour live stream, even with the 30-minute countdown clock, because I didn't want to miss it. 20 minutes after the stream was completely over, they uploaded a 45-minute Cliff Notes version on the League of Legends eSports YouTube channel, and I was thoroughly pissed off that I wasted that much damn time.
But you got to see it live.
Yeah, I did get to see it live, but I mean that's
not worth the time.
Hours when you can get the 45 freaking minute version of the whole damn thing. So. And it was also announced that they also have a total prize pool of $2.1 million with at minimum, if you're invited to Worlds, you and your team are guaranteed $25,000 US.
That's worth making the trip. Gee whiz.
Yeah, and guess where they're going to be at?
Where is this Worlds being held?
In Ken's neck of the woods.
Oh, really?
Yes, the entire thing, pool play is starting off October 1st through 4th and 8th and 11th through 11th in Paris. October 15th and 18th are going to be the quarterfinals at SSE Arena in London. So it's another arena that we're selling out.
Wow.
October 24th and 25th going to be the semis in Brussels, with grand finals being on Halloween in Berlin at the Mercedes-Benz Arena. What really makes this interesting is that we had the NA LCS championships in Madison Square Garden. That's the end all be all. It's like if you've played basketball or done any form of sports, my realm of things is professional wrestling. If you've if you've done anything competitive inside the garden, you
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, what was actually keeping them from, wanting to do Worlds at the world's most famous arena? We outdid ourselves when we sold out the freaking Staples Center.
Well, so when you talk about the actual matchup and stuff, unfortunately I don't know enough about which teams are participating. I haven't seen them enough to be able to comment on it. It's funny, my cousin, which, if you were listening, he's upstairs, could talk all about it because he always has those streams up on his second screen, which when you're talking about watching it live, that's basically what he does. He's always gaming, playing was it Skyforge is the one that we should all play instead of Terra? But he plays that, and he's watching the LCS or the Worlds or any of that stuff next to him while he does it. So he knows all about them. I mean, I recognize the main American teams and the big ones in there. It's interesting just how they're trying to set up brackets to kind of change how things are going to end up. But it's kind of like, I don't know, right? It's unfortunate if they're artificially keeping teams away from each other to try to add to the drama, if you will, or something like that, where it's like...
Well, they also chose the pool play. They did teams seated in the pools at a random draw.
Okay.
So, and they also made it to where if a team from a particular region is already in a pool, like let's say... Alright, so let's say hypothetically that Cloud9 and TSM, Fnatic and Cloud9 were from the same region, they wouldn't put them in the same pool because they play each other a lot within the
Which makes sense.
EU.
Yeah, it's trying to split up the teams to a degree.
Right. So it's like when I started paying attention more and more to this, it's like they also don't want it to be in a situation where, like, they're not, for the lack of better terms, segregating teams from their own region, because they also don't want it to be in a situation where, like, they don't want to have one rule when they're doing pool selection and then completely ignore it when it comes to the brackets for the knockout stage.
Yeah, basically have it going two different ways depending on where it's at. So it makes sense.
So it's for a guy who does not play League of Legends, I am more emotionally attached to this. It's like, I don't play Dota, but I watch the International. I don't play League of Legends, but I'm paying more attention to this year's World Championships than the past. The only thing that I play is Heroes of the Storm, but ironically enough, I have not sat and watched a Heroes of the Storm tournament yet. Am I broken?
No, actually, what you're showing is a reality of today's market, in that, and I saw a funny meme, I forget if it was posted on the V2W channel in Facebook or where I saw it, because normally the gaming stuff I see is there. But essentially it was, someone watching a guy online, or the cartoon is a person watching his friend who's watching video games online, saying like, oh yeah, I'm watching this guy play a video game, it's awesome. And the guy's like, really? You're watching someone else play a game? That's so stupid. And he turns around, sits down, and turns on football.
Exactly.
But in essence, no, you're not odd at all. There are so many people now watching people play games. It's actually rivaling traditional sports, because there's almost a closer connection to the kind of gaming that you see people play online on Twitch and stuff than there is to sports. Because how many people ever successfully played like football, baseball, soccer, all those things, and then continue to watch those sports through the professional level, versus how many people have played a video game, even once or twice, enough so to at least understand it, to then be able to watch people who are professionals, who are getting paid to compete in tournaments, play those same games. It makes it so you feel more connected to it, and it's perhaps more entertaining to you than this other thing that a lot of people always have watched, but you never maybe did yourself. Where on the other side, everybody can play League of Legends, it's free, anybody can go download it.
I wasn't making that connection between, being broken about watching eSports. I was being more of a joke or a comedian in the fact of that I watch League of Legends and Dota tournaments. I don't play those games, but I play Heroes of the Storms, and I can't even.
Got you there. Well, partly though, at the same time, League of Legends, Riot has done so much for production value that when you watch one of their tournaments, it's like watching a professional sports event.
Yeah.
It's very easy to watch. They do enough little side things that you actually start learning about the teams and characters, and they have little things about draw picks and how often characters get banned and the winning percentages and stuff like that. So they have enough of that extra commentary that it's more entertaining just to watch. We used to, all the time, it's been a while since I've done it, but I used to, during the tournaments on the weekend, while football was on, we would go sit down during a tournament on my television with the computer behind it and stream League of Legends tournaments with a bunch of my friends who also didn't really play, just because in a way it was just as, if not more, entertaining. Now, when you talk about Heroes of the Storm, I don't know, I can barely play that game. And that's only because, for me, it took away too many mechanics. And I hate to say that because that's almost like the same reason people like Dota 2 over LoL. And back and forth, because it's kind of that step up that Heroes of the Storm is like the easiest of MOBAs, to League of Legends, which is the mainstream MOBA, to like Dota 2, which is the hardcore MOBA.
I mean, the awkward thing about it is that as often as not often is not the right term, but when we would be getting the ARAMs,
yes,
for League, that's the only mode of League of Legends that I would be willing to play, mainly because everyone has the same shot of sucking as much as I do. But when I found that there were other alternatives, like you go from the top-down perspective of League to a over-the-shoulder third-person view as Smite.
Yep.
Smite was at one time my MOBA drug of choice because of it being different and aesthetically pleasing. Plus, like when I started hearing about them being not being called champs, but like based off of legitimate gods, that started drawing me in because I'm a huge mythology nerd. So I started looking up more information about these champs. Now, I was playing Smite for a good solid 6 to 8 months until I got the invite to go play Heroes of the Storm in their technical alpha. The only reason why, it's like, and I've mentioned this numerous times to several people, including you, that one of the, like, there was only one champ in League that I could become emotionally attached with. And that was Moo the Crying Mummy.
Haha, Moo, yes.
So, when you don't have that attachment, you don't have the appeal to keep you in, you go search elsewhere. That's one of the reasons why I was playing the DC MOBA. I can't remember the name of it.
No, me either.
And I was a huge DC fan, DC comic book reader growing up. And I was sad to actually hear that, like 2 or 3 months ago, that they announced that they were going to take their servers offline because they weren't doing as well as they wanted.
Yeah, there's a few companies that are realizing that right now. As I was talking real quick, as you're calling in about Tribes getting a new resurgence, that's also kind of in response to the fact that Smite has not done what Hi-Res Studios was hoping it would. And so they're kind of really looking at what they have, and they may try to put more effort back into Tribes, which I would love, because great game. But essentially everybody wanted to be the next League of Legends or Dota, but not everyone can, or has made strong enough platforms or games. So, yeah, I've seen that as well. And unfortunately, like you said with DC one, if they're not the big guy on the block, it's kind of like, why am I supporting this? Which sucks.
Yeah. And there was the biggest thing about a particular game is that, you know, Dota champs are always free. They never have a champ rotation. Smite, it's a $25 fee, and you get champs past present, and future.
Basically, you buy a lifetime and get it all.
Exactly. If, like, the only reason why that they're not considering Heroes of the Storm to technically be a part of the big three, which is Dota, League, and Smite right now, is because of you have microtransactions, but it doesn't appeal to the casuals. Like, oh, I gotta drop $120 to get the heroes that I want. I mean, it's no different than Hearthstone or any other of these freemium games. Is that 90% of it, if you're the new kid on the block, normally people are going to be drawn to you because you have already so many different choices. And like, if you were to take the champ selection of Dota and you put it with the production value of League of Legends, it's like I'd be watching every week. Like I would be playing that game.
Well, see, there's two parts to that, because of the watching side, which I think League, you don't matter because anyone who's playing has every champ. But for the playing part where you're talking about, I don't know, it's weird for me because maybe it's just because I played League since it started. And I've got enough IP to not even care. I own every single champ I could ever want to play and have more IP where I could probably buy the other half that I don't want to play.
Yeah.
And don't care, because it's never felt like a barrier to me, really. It did at the very beginning, back in the day, where it was like, the first champ I owned was Ashe, because she was the cheapest. Played her a bunch of times, and then finally, concentrated like, well, I kind of want to check this one out. I have enough IP now. But it was kind of my means to why I kept playing, was to earn enough IP to then try other champs. And that was just my mentality.
Well, you also have this thing to where if you're playing, like, let's say if I was to download Dota, we would have a VTW game night for Dota. There would be some people who would be apprehensive about playing because the champ selection is so overwhelming. I know that when I sat down after I bought the quote-unquote God Pack for Smite, it was a little bit overwhelming. Like, I couldn't figure out, like, should I stay with the gods that I have been playing? Do I move to someone else now that I've actually been able to play with them now that they're all unlocked? And nine times out of 10, if the champ selection is broadened enough to where it'll actually be overwhelming to a player, that's going to be leading to a quick, close out the game uninstall like it did for me in Dota. Mainly because there was so many different mechanics, and like, I watched the International for the past 2 years. Never picked up the game. I downloaded it and I started playing, and lo and behold, it's like creep sniping, and a couple of other mechanics that were added in to your stereotypical MOBA. Then you have all these champs and like stuff I wasn't even aware about. It's like you don't even have to go back to base to buy things. You can buy a carrier to fly to you that gets sniped out of the air. I'm like, oh, are you kidding? Like, why? It literally made my mind just go, because I had no idea what the hell I was doing.
Yeah.
It's like if you had a game that is simplified. It's like that's the reason why I'm trying to get to Hero League and Hero of the Storm. I love simplicity. I love the fact that I can boot up a game, and albeit there is going to be some toxicity in MOBAs or any competitive game, but I can go play Heroes of the Storm and be like, I could hit L, completely lock out ally chat, and just play. I can play while grinding, I can play against AI, I can do whatever. And plus, it's like, if the team doesn't act like a team, they're going to lose. Which I which I do admit that it's kind of like every MOBA,
Yeah.
but it's the fact that you level as a team, and you know,
Which is interesting, right? Because those are some of the main mechanics that people either love or hate. Because for me, the level as a team thing, to me, it's kind of, I don't know, backwards in the sense that, I mean, I understand there's a point where one person can just like out-level everyone and do a lot of craziness, but I've played it so many times where it felt like I was having to carry everyone up. Whereas, like, I am the only reason we are leveling. You all suck. You don't deserve these levels.
You're going to get that small group of people who just want to be carried to team to Hero League. There has been a couple of people to where we talked mid-match, and you know, the guy, we gave him the credit of the credit of the doubt for not knowing exactly what the hell he was doing. He actually said that it was his first game, and there was 4 of us on Skype raging at this one kid, and then all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, it's my first game." It's like, sure. So we just carried him that game. You know, the whole thing that actually drew me to Heroes was that games like Smite, and actually no, because you could actually have a auto buy option. Heroes of the Storm, not bleh. League has a really awkward buy system for their items. Yes, they give you a suggested item tree to do.
Yes.
But if you're wanting to learn how to be better and learn what other items do, you have to take the time and the effort to just learn.
Yeah, you do have to do some reading and memorizing of what items are.
So that was a little bit of one of the reasons why I was drawn to Heroes, because you don't have that really. You don't have the item system. You don't have the individual leveling, and plus you're kind of relegated to, you know, one of maybe about a handful of roles.
Fair.
Like, you don't necessarily have a designated jungler. You don't have a designated, you know, support, because everyone throughout the scheme of Heroes will eventually play all 5 roles in the middle of like throughout the course of a match. While in League, if you're playing Annie in a support role, by God, you will be playing her as a support role every single time that you jump into a game with her.
Yes.
And that kind of that's the monotony of MOBAs in general, but you have all of these other, lack for a better term, things to do. That's of course a match like map objectives, taking down a boss, this, that, and the other. I think it's Baron and the Dragon in League.
Yep.
Then you have, for Heroes, you have all these other sub camps you can actually get. But one of the biggest selling points that not only was it a Blizzard product, and I'm throwing myself under the bus. Yes, my name is Cupcheck, and I am a Blizzard fanboy. But I became emotionally attached because of the champs. Like the latest latest hero that they have was the monk from D3. I'm trying to get my hero's mount for hitting level 7, hitting the level cap this season in D3. So that's a draw. Diablo, I've been playing since the beginning of Diablo 2. Like all the World of Warcraft characters, I've been playing on and off since vanilla. You know, you don't play a game that you're not emotionally attached to, because if you're not emotionally attached to it, then it's going to be a quick close game uninstall. That's what, like Witcher 2 for me. You know, yes, Cupcheck hates Witcher. Get over it. But if I'm not emotionally attached to the game by already sinking in enough hours with the products that they've already have, then, you know, I'm not going to be attached enough to say, okay, I'm going to sit here and play Heroes of the Storm for 9 hours. I can do that. because I love the game and it has emotional attachment to it. I can't do that with League.
It's interesting how you say it, because for me, I don't know if I keep, whenever you say emotionally attached, I'm trying to decide if I feel like I'm emotionally attached or not. I don't know. My challenge has been, like, I've played League since way back, right? And admittedly now I mostly play ARAMs. I almost never play a full game because I tend not to have time to sit down to play a full game. And for me, I have, like, maybe it's just I have no attachment to Heroes of the Storm, because I know who some of the characters are and stuff, but I don't care because it's in such a contrived space to put them in anyways. It doesn't make any sense. And so, like, any attachment I would have had to the character doesn't really matter because it doesn't make sense to the game. Even to the point of them kind of jokingly in the tutorial or whatever saying, like, you know, don't think too heavily into this, it's just, you know, a game. But...
Okay. Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The big thing that I've been throwing around is emotional attachment, and I'm going to go into explanation here. When I say that I was only emotionally attached to Mumu.
Yes.
After hearing the songs from League CD and actually learning the backstory of them, like wondering why one of his abilities was that he was crying. Sorry to bring it down, but I like for a while, like specifically when I was growing up, I was fighting with depression, and that was the one thing out of the game is like hearing the backstory of Mumu and learning about just this one character. I became emotionally attached because I can relate. I can relate to this character as a whole because I know the pain, I know the suffering that he went through to actually have him dubbed as the Crying Mummy. And that's the only thing that I can foresee ever being in that game that makes it a draw to me is because of someone in the game that I can actually relate to.
Interesting. Because for me, I have to admit, I don't think I've ever really cared about the backstory on a character as to why I would play them. For me, it was always based on, like, do I like their mechanics, like how an ability works, or their play style, just how it feels to actually play them. Because I'm trying to think through, like, every game I've ever played where there's a choice of roles and characters you can play and stuff like that, where unless it was just because the character looked bad arse, and I was kind of like, well, he's just cool, he's a big robot thing, let me play that. Rarely did I really care about which character I played. I think that maybe in the X-Men game in the arcade where you could pick each of them, that I used to always pick Wolverine back in the day because I thought he was cool.
Colossus for me.
And then for me it moved to, like, Nightcrawler. But even then I would still play any of them. And I mean, in, like, Ninja Turtles, same kind of thing, I would maybe play mostly Donatello. But I mean, when it comes to League, it was always like just what they did. I didn't really care about the character. And I'm trying to think other games like that where, yeah, it's more just the mechanics they had. So interesting, like I said, just a different way of looking at it. Because for me, like in League characters, I have never really even paid attention to any of their backstories. I only slightly know that, like, Vi and Jinx are like sisters or whatever. And a bunch of them came from, like, Demacia, and some of them came from, like, the Void or something, and that's about it. And it's mostly because of their looks, or maybe some of the language packs and things they will say. But otherwise, that's just, again, it's just me. I never cared about what the character was doing, unless it's like a story-driven thing, right? When I played, like, Tomb Raider, and you're playing a character's story, then it mattered to me, because that's why I'm playing that game, was the whole story. If I'm just playing a fighter, like when I play Mortal Kombat or something like that, honestly, don't give a rat's arse what the character's backstory is. I mean, even though I will tell you the later, newer Mortal Kombat games have some pretty damn good, like, actual story in there that they built. So that's just interesting. Like I said, different thing for as gamers. Because that's just me. I have never gotten that way.
Well, I mean, they're... Okay, let's all put our nerd caps on for a second. Let me take you down the rabbit hole. There has been some games where I've pumped in years, like your Diablo, like your Magic the Gathering, and your World of Warcraft. Those are the big three that I've actually sunk the most time and the most effort into. Which one of those do I still play? I still play Diablo and actually that's Diablo and Magic the Gathering. The only reason why I still play those two is that I made a mistake and actually paid attention to the World of Warcraft lore. The World of Warcraft lore is the solid reason that I don't play the game anymore.
Interesting.
Let me explain. the one of the biggest things about me playing a game is just the entertainment factor alone. It's like, case in point, Magic the Gathering years ago that they actually put out books, and they used to give away books as a part of product. So they would have like 6 packs of Onslaught with a book and a spin down die for people to, to read and use the die and whatnot. I would buy the fat packs just for the packs, and I would give the book to someone else because I really don't care about the lore. Someone told me that, in hindsight, the Alliance is the evil guys. Ugh. I'm like, okay, that just made it no fun. Escape, exit game, uninstall. And I was like that for a couple of years. And someone at the card shop not too long ago was explaining about how the lore, this, that, and the other. And it's like, I don't want to be at home, reading lore about a game that I've been playing for 15 years just based on the entertainment factor of it. I just want to be entertained. I want to sit down. I want to play a game. Like Mortal Kombat X has a really good, detailed, drawn-out story mode, but you have to play it in order to get some things done in the game. So it's like the easiest way to get coins for the crypt, just play through story mode a couple of times.
Yep.
And that's kind of a necessity. But when it's something is like the last time I played MKX was about a month ago, after I did all the storyline BS, but I just want to be entertained based on the graphics, gameplay, and stuff in the game. If you give me some existential lore and BS about it's like stuff that I really don't care about, that's actually that's actually going to take me away from the game. But if I seek out this information or play a part of the game that actually is made to either assist you, like the MKX story mode, or I seek out the information to further acquaint myself with a particular character, like Mumu, then that's on me. But it's like, I don't want to be bombarded with a whole bunch of crap, if that makes any sense.
Well, yeah, you don't want it just like forced down your throat just for the sake of it. It needs to be meaningful, or you want to have it something you can choose to go immerse yourself into versus have to do it just to get through a checkpoint or something like that, just to check a box. And that makes a lot of sense. And actually, though, this discussion makes me very curious because it makes me think about a lot of discussions I've had with people over the years about the things they like in different games and what they remember from different games. One that I always go back to is like Final Fantasy VII. And because for me personally, I, to a degree, remember the overall story. But honestly, there are most of those little nitpicky parts and like side pieces of it and the like other characters besides just the main plot line. I don't even have a clue. Because I played the game to beat the game. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the mechanics, the way the magic worked, the fighting, the overall general world, characters, mobs, stuff like that I enjoyed. But I can't say that I ever really got into the story enough to know all these details. And I find that kind of bites me a lot in that other people have played some of those games, and that one in particular, they know every little bit about that lore. Every character and their backstory and stuff, and I'm just like, I didn't get that. But then I just played it. I enjoyed it. I played the same game. I beat the same game, and I moved on. It might be a reason is because I've got 300 plus games in my Steam list, and I bounce between games left and right, and so I play them mostly just to play them. But I rarely have ever gotten to a point where I remember like the story of a game afterwards, really.
Right.
And maybe that's the arcade roots and Super Mario Brothers and stuff like that, where it was a simple, there's an objective and you played to get that objective, but you didn't go any further about like the whole whys and what else is going on in the world.
Oh, yeah. And before anybody has the bright idea of, oh, Cupcheck doesn't like stories, does he play RPGs at all? Yes, but I'm just mainly talking about the games that have like really drawn, convoluted out storylines, like League of Legends. It does not need to have a storyline, but yet they feel obligated that they have to put a storyline to each individual character. World of Warcraft, it's like that storyline has just gone 9 kinds to hell and back.
Well, the problem is they should have stopped making World of Warcraft and made another Warcraft game that could have actually pushed some lore.
Well, there you go. It's like yes, I play Final Fantasy VII. I play Final Fantasy 14 to death. There's only so many triple triad tournament chocobo asses you can stare at for a while in that game. It's like, yes, I play Pokemon. Yes, I play. It's like, but when someone actually goes as far as like writing fanfic for Smash, that's where I cross the line.
You're saying not something that's going to catch your interest.
Oh, hell no. It's like, as much as I love the game, I'm not going to seek out any potential storylines that Nintendo will ever come up with. It's like, have you seen the Mario and Zelda storylines and the
no
timeline? So
I can
it's like,
only imagine. So, no, I hear you with that. But I'm going to pose that question out to people and out to the community. I'd actually really be curious to get some emails and stories about games that you maybe were actually emotionally connected to, either because of a character, the story, the world, something like that, versus if maybe people out there are more like me, where I just play majority of it just for the gameplay mechanics and just a general light good time. I'd really like to hear what some people's stories out there of what they get into, because for me, I know that I haven't connected with games nearly as in-depth as some people I've talked to. And I never really thought about why that is. I just know people would bring up stories and stuff where I'm like, huh? Okay, sure. Where for me it would just be like, wait, I'm pretty sure I played that same game. Why don't I remember all of that? But, so I'll just throw that out there. With that, though, Cupcheck, it is about time for us to end the show. I know that we don't have Casually Hardcore after us anymore because they are now broadcasting on their new night, Thursday evenings. Check out all the details on alphageekradio.com to find their show. Got to listen to them last week, which was actually quite nice for a change. On Thursday night, actually tune in and be able to hear their show since I wasn't having to worry about gaming right afterwards or running around doing other stuff. So actually, that might work out great. I'll be able to participate more with the casuals. And with that, we're going to... Essentially, I don't have to butt up against the wall to anything, but I have to get out and go do a photo shoot for a friend so that their daughter can have high school senior pictures. So I need to do that, which should be interesting running around.
Have I really been ranting for about 41 minutes now?
Basically, that's about how long the call's gone.
Sorry, I'm off my soapbox now.
It means you have participated in the show today. That is all.
Special.
And I do not mind that at all. It's funny, Hando puts into the IRC, Final Fantasy VII, when Sephiroth killed that girl, I was wicked pissed. Which is funny because it's like, yes, that is like the scene everybody remembers, right? When Aerith gets killed by Sephiroth. I say that, and I really hope it's Aerith and not someone else.
One last thing before I go. True story. I got to the point where Aerith was killed by Sephiroth. The whole cinematic thing. Right in the middle of the cinematic, my computer blue screened.
Oh, jeez.
I went to go reboot. My hard drive fried.
Oh, no.
And I have not picked up that game since.
I can understand that why that would, the pain of that and how that could drive you away from it, because I've had moments like that where it was just like, well, now I don't care because I put all that effort in. If I have to do it again, not happening.
Exactly.
So I do understand that. But now it is time for us to end the show this week. Thank you very much for calling in and sharing with us thoughts on some of the games out there you've been playing and how things are going, especially with the world stuff coming up. And with that, I'm going to let you go. Any last things you'd like to say to everybody before I end this?
I don't know how I'm going to be doing this, but I'm going to be planning a world group stage viewing party.
Nice.
Over the internet. I'll have to figure out some program to get people together to just BS on, but...
Easy. Jump into our Google Hangout on VTW Productions Hangout page and invite
That'll work.
friends, and everyone can jump in there. Or you could even come into the gaming, back into our TeamSpeak and jump into the TeamSpeak and get a group of people together. Depends if you want to see or just hear. And so, both are options that are supported by VTWProductions.com. All right, sir. Thank you very much for calling in. So with that, it has been the show this week, and hopefully, wait, let's see, next week, what am I doing? I may or may not be doing martial arty things during the show next week, so unless Ken is up and Adam to do a solo show, I cannot promise whether I will be on next week. Also depends if I want to spend the money necessary for that event after spending the money on this event and being broke as a joke. Anyhow, we'll see. Heads up, though, in case you are looking forward to next week's show, it may or may not happen, or it may or may not be a solo show by Ken. We shall see. But with that, please listen to all the shows on VTWProductions.com. Follow us at our Twitters. Follow us, and please email into the show at VTW or at showx@VTWProductions.com. I want to hear from you. If ever you have a news story or something going on in the geek world that you just like to let us know about, like to hear our opinion, please email in the show. Also, feel free to share us with your friends. Please, don't hide it. If you like being a geek and you like listening in and hearing what we have to say, let others know. They may like it too. It would be cool for us to grow the community a bit more and have more people to game with on our gaming nights. With that, that's it. We are out. Have a good day. As I find all the right buttons and stuff.
Goodbye. See you in the next zombie.